Hey everyone, Fatty and Tubbs here. This is 3.3.1, maybe 3.2
Yeah,
episodes.
3.1.
Why this other one loads. We're going to do another one. What do you got?
I While we were talking about the celebrities, I thought of two more celebrity stories that were kind of cool. One of them's cool, the other one's really, really embarrassing for this celebrity. Well, I mean, I say celebrity loosely,
Please tell me it was like in a bathroom.
kind of.
What? Okay. Sorry. Keep going.
So we used to go to these batting cages. I believe it was called All American Sports Complex or something like that. So these indoor batting cages, and we would go. My dad would take us, and one time we were there, and there was like 6 batting cages. It was just me and my brother, my parents, and then 2 guys and 2 hot chicks that were, you could tell they were couples. And I get to looking and realized it was, and you got to be about my age to know this, it was Kevin Seitzer and Kurt Stillwell.
Okay.
Both played for the Royals. So we kind of met them, and they were really cool talking to us. They both signed an autograph for us. And we were watching them, and Kurt Stillwell, kind of did his own thing. He was never really a good hitter. Kevin Seitzer was a great hitter. So they're in this batting cage, and the balls are coming at probably, I think it's probably 90, 95 miles an hour they had it set. And it wasn't 60 feet, so it was closer than that.
Yeah.
So that's where they made up the speed. Well, Kevin Seitzer, they had the little yellow balls with the dimples in them, they had batting cages. He would write numbers, like a 6 on the front, 6 on the back, like 1 through 24, how many balls there were. Dude's vision was so ridiculous. The pitch would come, he would hit it, and he would call out the number of what the baseball was.
That's fucking ridiculous.
It was insane. Dude had the most ridiculous vision I've ever seen.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. If it wasn't for injuries, he would have had a probably better career, but I've never seen anything like it. I don't know if it's common among Major League Baseball players. I've never seen it. I couldn't even tell you. I can tell you if a ball's spinning, but I couldn't read anything off of it.
Read the number.
So, yeah, that was pretty cool. That was a pretty fun night.
Do you think the guy the next day who was like cleaning up everything was like, who the fuck keeps writing on these balls?
He may have, but then somebody probably said it's Kevin Seitzer, and he was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because Kevin Seitzer, actually, his rookie year was the same year that Mark McGwire came on the scene.
But what if the guy that the custodian or whoever picks up the ball gatherer was like, I don't give a fuck who that is.
Could be.
I see that motherfucker.
Could be a Cardinals fan that just living up in this area.
See, there you go. So why they were hitting you guys? You and
we kind of eventually
we were banging the two.
Oh yeah, we tuned them up pretty good.
So yeah, ladies warm while you're hitting.
Stillwell and Seitzer are still single to this day. We pretty much ruined their life.
he could read a number on a ball, but
couldn't see me coming.
Couldn't see you flexing nuts.
Yeah, like you keep calling out your numbers. I'm gonna be over here flexing nuts on your chick.
Be like, oh, can you write that too? Flex nuts.
So then that reminded me of the other one that is not such a great story.
But you said for them.
Well, really for anybody that'd be in this situation. So I don't know who on our team had a contact to get a hold of this guy. We were having a baseball practice.
Okay.
We were told this person was going to be there. The 1986 Mets that won the World Series. Okay. That was the year they defeated the Red Sox, which is also the first year I became a Red Sox fan. So Ed Hearn was a player for the Mets. He was a backup catcher to Gary Carter. He was never any good as far as Major League Baseball players go. Then a couple years later, he ended up with the Royals, was a backup. But somebody knew how to get a hold of him, and he said, yeah, I'll come to you guys' practice, and we can put on a little clinic and all this stuff. So we're all excited. We're going through our baseball cards, finding Ed. The cards weren't worth anything because he was Ed Hearn. Nobody knew who Ed Hearn was.
Both times you've said he's been a backup.
Oh, yeah. I don't think he may have started, but he was never any good.
What if he watches this and like, who are these two
Yeah,
fucks?
I remember you little shithead. So we've got our cards, but we're like, oh, this is going to be cool. Most of us never met a Major League Baseball player. So practice starts. He's still not there. We're taking infield, hitting, doing all this stuff. Finally, a car pulls up, and it wasn't like a Ferrari or it was like
Not a Lambo.
yeah, it was like a 90 or not 90, an 87 Escort or something like that. Just a regular old car. We notice and we're looking and nobody gets out of the car. So finally, I think my dad and one of the other coaches, they go over there to see who it is because, we're waiting on Ed Hearn to show up. And they go over and we see him, he rolls his window down. They're talking to him through the window.
Through the window.
Yeah. So pretty soon they come walking back. Old Eddie Hearn backs it on out and takes off and just leaves. So we're like, okay, well, what's going on? Turns out Ed Hearn had diarrhea and shit himself in the car on his way to our practice.
What?
So he was unable to get out of the car to come participate in our practice.
See, to me, that would have been a more exciting if he had shit his pants and been like...
If he got out of the car and be like, hey, I have a World Series ring and also a underwear full of shit.
What if he just had the car drive onto the field and was like did the clinic from the car,
chucking shit out at us. So it just goes to show you, World Series ring or no, you can still shit your pants. Like that's the moral of the story.
Well, my phone's on 15%, so hopefully it will stay up for us. But we also have been to a few concerts together, and one of the, like you talked about people not knowing, People in Planes. People aren't going to know that band. They're great. Look them up. Buy their albums.
They broke up, but get their old stuff.
Yeah.
And hope they get back together.
That was one of the best live shows I've ever been to.
These motherfuckers we met them after the show. They were taking down
their stuff, and I saw the drummer
and still had time to stop and talk to us.
Well, that was the best part. Was I walk up to the drummer and I go, "Hey, I really enjoyed. Like, I just, he's there, he's doing stuff, but I'm just like, hey, man, really enjoyed your show." And then he goes, "What?" And he didn't hear me, so I went up to him and I'm like, "Oh shit!" And then the guitarist comes up and they're like, "Oh shit, is there going to be problems?" Because these motherfuckers are from across the pond. They're from England, so I'm sure they're used to people fucking with them and shit. So I was like, "No, I really appreciate, I really liked your guys' show. We really like music, everything like that." And they were the nicest guys. If we could have stayed longer, I would have found out where they were going.
Yeah, that was a good show.
That was definitely a good show. And then we went to, do you remember seeing like Bless the Fall?
It's Bless the Fall. Oh shit.
Okay, this is a good concert story. So it was Demon Hunter, Bless the Fall, and then As I Lay Dying was As I Lay Dying was the headline.
Saliva.
No,
Saliva was the.
Okay,
that was Smile Empty Soul.
Smile Empty Soul. Let's go back to that story.
Yeah.
So we were like, let's go see Smile Empty Soul. Never seen them. There was Saliva, but we don't have to stay for Saliva. Click, click, boom. And we're there, and they just came out with a new album. We got our album signed, and those guys were really, really nice.
Cool as hell.
Cool.
The thing about Smile Empty Soul, they have an album out almost every other year.
Really? But
it just doesn't, they're not very well known. But if you, like, they have a brand new one. It's the solo stuff from their lead singer.
Oh, cool.
And you could play their first song they ever made all the way to the last song they ever made. And there's no filler. There's no trash. It's all good.
Yeah, there's no like, hey, let's experiment with.
It's just not
didgeridoos
for upbeat, happy people.
No.
So I think that's where they don't really.
Not like those Saliva fans.
Yeah.
Also,
Saliva, terrible, by the way. If you haven't seen Saliva,
that dude's fucking huge. And I don't mean just like, oh, he's a big, like, this guy is fucking, no wonder he was like a bouncer and then saw people doing the music.
But how do you be that big and be like, what's your name? And he's like, Josie.
Ooh.
You can't be
kind of like a boy named Sue?
Josie Scott and be fucking like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't do that. And then we saw the guys from Bless the Fall, and they were all looked like 15 years old and in like in a van. But that was a fun concert, and I'm glad we sat at a table for that one because it was fucking pandemonium. Like the pit circles and stuff. I was like, man, if I was younger, that would be fun. But I looked and I was like, good God, like,
I can't deal with that.
The best part was this happened where this band that wasn't even supposed to be on there somehow talked to the promoter and was like, hey, if we set up our own shit, can we play a song? Do you remember the guy had a weird fucking half mask?
God, I actually saw
They
them
were
on something.
like troll something or whatever. I don't
Oh
even
God,
know.
yeah, I can't remember. And it was
Awful.
horrible.
They it was like half their instruments were plugged in, half were, and then
It took them forever. They like people were like yelling, like "Get your shit together,
like, play something." And then I think the best part was those guys had to have just ran out because the next people were Demon Hunter, and the guy gets up and he was like, "Are you ready for some real fucking music?" Like just buried the fucking first guys that were trying, and they just couldn't get it. Like they kept doing this where they're like to the sound booth, and I guarantee you there was no one at the sound booth because they weren't supposed to be there.
I'm gonna go get a beer while these guys do whatever they're doing.
Exactly.
And then Demon Hunter came out and crushed it.
Just fucking murdered it.
War of Ages.
War of
the other one
Ages.
that came out. They crushed it.
Yeah, that was. But that first band, I guess, to me, that's what I call paying your dues. Like trying to get on these shows and do
to
these
this day,
things.
he's going to remember that as a stepping stone.
I remember going to Tool. Tool was a great concert. They just put on a great show. Like that was just
every
awesome.
time.
And I went with Lisa, and she's not a huge Tool fan, but even she was like, that was a fucking amazing show. It's like, yes, such a good time. How many times have you seen Tool?
4.
4?
Yeah.
How many times have you seen Metallica?
3, I believe.
3?
Yeah. They're two different. They're both good shows, but they're two different types of shows.
Yeah. I always wanted to see Mudvayne.
Yeah, that's one I always want to see. They're not doing anything anymore either.
I don't really. He's in Hell Yeah, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
The lead singer there. Man, I remember back in the day going to see Evanescence. It was when they released that first album with the Bring Me to Life. Their first show, the day of that release, was in Kansas City.
Really?
And it was actually really pretty cool. And she was actually really hot. That Amy Lee chick. I don't know about that anymore, but
yeah, I don't even know what she's doing.
She's probably like 40 or something like that. Disgusting.
Yeah, gross.
Fucking.
Oh, by the way, a quick update you may not know. So As I Lay Dying, Tim Limbasis hired somebody to kill his wife.
Got on roids.
Hired somebody to kill his wife. Got arrested. Went to jail. So the rest of As I Lay Dying teamed up with the vocalist from Oh Sleeper.
Yeah, okay.
Became Woven War.
Yes.
Released 2 albums under Woven War, which were awesome.
Yes.
Tim Limbasis since then has been out of prison, and they've reconnected, and As I Lay Dying has a new album out right now.
Really?
Yeah.
I liked the only not that I wanted his wife to get killed, but the best part that came out of that was all their albums started going out on like Rhapsody and Spotify, and like you could stream their music because they're like, yeah, people aren't going to be buying that shit now when you try to murder your wife.
You think he got out and he was like, babe, we need to talk.
Do you think like, hey, when he said that he like called her lawyer, like, hey, could I talk to my ex-wife? Like, we all have problems. I get it.
I was just trying to sell records, babe.
Also, too, no one's ever a fucking hitman. Can we get that? Can we get that through?
You can't just get on Craigslist and search hitman.
I mean,
without it being an FBI agent. That's
you should assume that if you call five hitmen, that all 5 of them are some type of law enforcement.
Are you a cop? You have to tell me if you're a cop.
You tell me if you're a cop. That's entrapment as I ask you to murder my wife.
If you're not a cop, I want you to kill. If you are a cop, though, don't. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Totally kidding.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah, they were a really good band, but that concert, I was like, man, that was a stacked concert. I've been to like the thing that is crazy when you look back on it was I went to the one year I went to Warped Tour was the year that All That Remains was there.
Mm-hmm.
I think As I Lay Dying, there were a couple heavier bands there, and I was like, so I'd hear it later when you would play it or something like that. I'm like, fuck, I know where that was from. It's like, oh shit, they were stage 2, right? And I was like right here next to, like it was like Dropkick Murphys, then All That Remains, and then Coheed came up there. I've seen Coheed like 4 or 5, no, maybe 6 times. I really like them. I've seen them. I went with DJ and Zach to and Lisa to Offspring. And they actually put on a pretty
On
good show.
purpose?
They put on
Or
a good
just
show.
end up at Offspring? It's
Well,
good. I feel like Offspring's like Denny's.
Alkaline Trio was also playing on that show, and I really liked them. So I went to them, and then there was. I mean, who doesn't like Pretty Fly for a White Guy, or Come Out and Play, or The Kids Are All Right, or there's so many of those songs.
The hits just keep on coming with Offspring.
They still keep doing it. Blink one. No, who was the other? I can't think of the other band that was there, but it was that outdoor. It was an outdoor concert at the River Market, and then they can't do that anymore. It's Steamboat Arabia. You remember that?
I never went there, but I
do you know that they can't do it there anymore because the music was so loud that it was rattling the relics of the Steamboat Arabia.
Jesus.
Because people need to see the Steamboat Arabia that was found in a riverbed. Which, did anyone really give a shit about the Steamboat Arabia?
No.
Because you at least want to know where it went down, right? Maybe try to get some people fucking old scuba gear to try to find. I don't know, but fuck, whatever. Whatever. Best concert you've ever been to?
Well, all the Tool ones are up there, but honestly, the first one was my favorite. I didn't have tickets. I didn't pay for tickets. A friend of mine worked at, or not worked there, but whatever she worked for, they were running one of the concession stands at Kemper Arena.
Gotcha.
So she said, "Hey, if you want to come, you can work, and you just sell some food, and then after that, we get to watch the show.
Fucking sling a few funnel cakes and get to see."
Yeah,
Tool.
so I had to fry some chicken fingers, and that was it. And the opening act was done, and they closed all the concession stands before.
Oh yeah.
Everything.
Well, they're not going to sell shit.
So at that point, they closed the doors. Tool starts playing. We're in this thing with my friend. Her name was Mindy, and the people she worked with, and we're still drinking. Like we're not selling beer anymore, but we were still drinking. And I just got to go.
I'd have to drink to work at a concession stand.
I just had to walk out there and just stand in top of one of the entryways, and I could just watch the whole concert.
That's awesome.
And that was the first time they played the Push It from Salival.
Nice.
That I saw.
Yeah.
Not the first time they ever did it, but the first time I ever saw it live. And it was the most incredible song I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
And then at one point they had an intermission. At that point we had to take all the money and count all that. We had to take it downstairs to some place in Kemper. And when we're done, we're walking out. Then we walk right past Adam Jones and Danny Carey.
Yeah.
Like we pass him just like that. And I'm just like looking at her. I'm like, that was fucking Adam Jones and Danny Carey.
You should have bumped into him and be like,
Adam Jones is a small guy. Danny Carey, he's a big old boy.
But you should have bumped into him and be like, you got a fucking problem?
You know the best part about Danny Carey? I've probably told you this.
He's like, hey, you fan.
Yeah. No, his brother, Jeff Carey, was a 4-year player at KU.
Oh, yeah?
So whenever they play in Kansas City, he always wears the Jayhawk basketball jersey.
Yeah, which is awful.
It's unbelievable.
Because they cheat. All the time.
That's for another day.
Have you ever been to a live wrestling event? I'll finish with this.
Yeah, I went to the very first SmackDown in Kansas City.
The very first SmackDown?
Mm-hmm.
See, I went to...
Actually, no, that was the very first SmackDown ever.
Ever?
The first SmackDown was in Kansas City.
Ah, nice. I went... My sister and her husband at the time got me and my brother... Because it was during the wars, like being around pro wrestlers, you learn about the wars of pro wrestling.
Yeah.
And there's the WCW and WWF. Well, we went to WCW, and it reminded me of Kemper, and it was at Kemper, and it was like big Papa Pump, like Scott Steiner, the guy who had took all the juice, Buff Bagwell, all these people, but my sister's husband at the time had a sign that said Big Papa Chump, and he saw that, and he started like climbing off the ring and trying to come and get him. Yeah, he wasn't going to do it. Well, maybe he would have done something because
as many roids as he was on, he probably would have.
That dude was a fucking psycho.
Yeah,
but then it reminded me of I almost went to I got invited to go to when the one where Owen Hart died.
I had friends there.
Yeah. Yeah, I got invited to that, and I was like, I just can't. I can't do it. There's some reason I couldn't make it, and then it was like, I'm like, yeah, I don't want to see a fucking person die.
Well, see, we were watching it. We used to get together, rotate houses, and would watch the pay-per-views, and we got them because The Rock and Stone Cold. Wrestling was fun back then, even though we knew it was fake. But there were so many mysteries in it.
Though.
Like that was the early there were still rumors, and you weren't sure what you're going to see. Yeah. Nowadays, you can't. Everything's ruined before it happens.
Yeah.
But so we're watching it, and they're getting ready to introduce the fight, and they cut away, and the announcers, what's the guy's name? Jerry's, I think is.
Not Jerry Lawler.
Jerry Lawler.
Is it Jerry Lawler?
Yeah, and the other
Jim
other
Ross.
Guy. And Jim Ross. They're both like, you could tell they didn't really know what to say, and they're kind of like trying to make the show go on, and
he's fucking dead.
So I called my buddy Derek.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm sorry you wanted to kick my ass about the car thing earlier. Remember, did you see his comment on ours?
Yeah, there was that, and then there was the graduation story. We'll get to that, of course.
So Derek was there, and I remember calling him, and we're like, dude, what the fuck is going on? And he's like, no, this shit is real. We just saw him fall. He hit the mat, bounced like 10 feet in the air, and we're like, holy shit, and we didn't know what was going on, but he was there watching it live.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, and then you're like, oh, and then there's just silence.
And of course, being in WWE, they're literally giving him a heart massage in the ring. They get him out of there, take him to the hospital, and it's like, all right, next up, that's the motto. Show must go on.
I mean, and they also had him dress up as like a blue, not blue monster, but they were like, oh, he's blue guy now. And it's like, think about that, just like your last thing
the ones
is blue
that
guy.
were like a certain name, and then they just recreate him as a different person.
Oh yeah, oh for sure.
Like the Undertaker he was the devil, and he killed people, and then all of a sudden he was just a biker.
But that he started as a biker, and then one day he was like, I'm just gonna wear darker makeup, and then like, oh my god, this guy's menacing. Next thing you know, he fucks dead bodies, or they're like, hey, this big guy, like Kane, was never anything else other than Kane, because he was just a big guy.
Eventually, he took the mask off and wrestled.
Well, yeah, he became that, but he was still like, you can't be like, you know what, he's a mild-mannered accountant.
Yeah.
But like I've been listening to Stone Cold talk, and he was a couple different things. He was like Jimmy Cold or Jimmy Frost.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, his first persona was pretty dumb.
That's crazy.
Steve Williams.
What's the best live event you've been to? And we'll finish with that.
Best live event?
It could be
anything.
Really.
I'd have to say hands down watching the Red Sox in Fenway.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's definitely cool.
As far as excitement goes, there's nothing better than watching a game in Allen Fieldhouse.
Yeah.
But as far as just taking in everything around you and the sights and just the environment, Fenway Park, hands down.
I was at the Cleveland Browns Stadium watching the Chiefs play the Browns while we were in what they call like the dog pound, or wherever the fucking people get fucking murdered.
The alcoholics and the rapists.
I mean, where people get hit with like a sock with a lock, like a padlock in it, shit like that.
Yeah, bars of soap.
They took it easy on us, because we weren't flaunting that we were Chiefs fans. Like, hey, it's me and three other white guys. But then I saw a guy as we're leaving. He's pissing just on the side of basically a concession stand, just the wall, and a cop comes up and nudges him like, dude, you can't do that. So what do you think he did?
I'd say kept pissing or pissed on the cop.
No, he's
in Cleveland.
He punched the cop.
Oh, well.
Because the cop got in the middle of his piss. So then the cop pulls out his club and starts beating him. Well, that makes the guy puke. So now the guy's puke trying to fight the cops. Now there's 3 cops and they're just beating
and he's just covered in like 3 kinds of body fluids.
And everyone just keeps like, this was literally like, it could have been like just a beggar or someone that you just see every day, just there. It could have been the cotton candy guy right there, as much as people were paying attention. But I just watched this guy get the fuck beat out of him. That was probably my favorite.
I feel like the cotton candy guy at the Browns game probably doesn't take home a lot of money.
But he might have been the drunk guy pissing.
I just feel like cotton candy in Cleveland, Ohio at a football game is just probably not a big hit.
Well, he's like, come on, I'll suck your dick.
Yeah.
You buy this cotton candy. Come on, I have a family. He's just in the back holding a gun in his mouth.
Somebody buy my cotton candy. And then every night somebody is like, I feel sorry for him. I'll buy all his cotton candy so he can not kill himself.
Or he comes home and she's like, how much cotton candy did you sell? And he just like pulls up like a glass of bourbon and it's just like, this fucking bitch. Just it becomes a raging alcoholic. Like, my parents told me not to marry a cotton candy salesman.
And he's like, you know what, bitch? I flex nuts.
Perfect ending. Fetting Tub flex nuts on live events, sporting events, fights, concerts, all that.
Don't forget to keep flexing those nuts.
If you're worried what to do with your nuts, what do?
Flex them.